And joining me now, Donald Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway. Good evening.
Hi, you're on fire tonight.
Well, you know, this is hogwash. This is not the way it's supposed to be done. And as far as I'm concerned, there are rules. We are a nation of rules. And that's what Donald Trump is all about, a nation of rules.
Yes.
And you don't dance like this. It's not right. But what do you think of what happened?
Well, it sounds like you're upset with Jim Comey for the way he handled the investigation in the first place,
Sure.
which is a point that Donald Trump has been making for many, many months.
Right.
And yesterday, for Comey to come out, I guess he thinks there's something big. He didn't want to go down with the ship, frankly. We do hear all the different rumors, Jeanine, from people being unhappy at the FBI with the conclusion that he ultimately reached, with others saying that he set a very public standard in July, when on July 5th, he could have just said, he could have actually just issued a statement. We never had to see him. But he went out of his way to publicly undercut his own conclusion by saying she was careless and reckless. Then he testified before Congress and undercut his conclusion that much further. We're under oath, a place where many Clinton people will never be. Jim Comey talked about how it's not correct that she had one device, she had 13. They had smashed the devices. She did have national security information being exchanged on this private server. She didn't recognize that C meant confidential when we all know that, let alone, you don't have to be a United States Senator, First Lady, or Secretary of State to know that. We all know that. And so he undercut his own premise in a very public way. But, you know, I think the last part of your statement is the one that Americans are going to focus on now before the election, which is, do we really want more of the never-ending Clinton scandalabra? Do we want to take the chance to put somebody in the Oval who then will bring us all through this continuing nightmare? We saw that when Richard Nixon was elected. Then we went through the awful nightmare of Watergate afterward, and you know what happened. But the fact is, the undecided voters right now, they've decided they don't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. There's nothing they're going to learn about her positively in the last 10 days that's going to say, you know what, I don't think she lies for a living. I do kind of like her. I do trust her. This doesn't help her among those undecided voters, many of whom are independents. Independents are twice as likely to be undecided as the average voter right now.
Right.
And they're independent. Why? Independents and moderates are not the same. Independents call themselves independents because they refuse to pledge allegiance to either party. They've declared their independence from both parties. They don't much like Washington. They hate politicians, and they hate exactly what you just described.
But those independents, aren't they already convinced that, look, she was wrong with that email thing, and nothing that Jim Comey did yesterday is going to change their minds?
No, if that were true, then her trustworthy and honesty numbers
wouldn't have gone up.
And
they are now what?
Oh, they're stratospheric. I mean, in some polls, they're 60, 63, 64%. Her majority of Americans don't like her, they say. They find her to be unlikable. I sympathize. But it's an even higher number among the people who say she's not honest and not trustworthy. That's about 15 points higher than the day she announced. Usually your numbers improve. So Jim Comey deciding, quote, not to prosecute her did not help her. And I would posit to you, everything he said in and around that conclusion, undercutting his own conclusion, also did not help her honesty and trustworthy numbers.
Right. And it was clear when he was under oath in Congress. I mean, he was torn to shreds.
Yes.
I was embarrassed for him as a prosecutor. I was embarrassed for him. But how should Donald Trump handle this?
The way he's handled it yesterday and today. So since this news broke, he's had 6 rallies in 5 or 6 different states. And each time he raises it, he says there's breaking news, or you may have heard they have reopened, or I guess they have a separate investigation. And he mentions Huma, he mentions Anthony Weiner, he mentions how prescient he was, In light of that, I'm going to stop you right there. It's really amazing.
You know what?
This guy's always ahead of the trend. I'm telling you right now.
I want our viewers to know what you and I are both talking about. I'm going to ask for that sound.
But then he moves on. I want to tell you, then he moves on. This is important. He spends a couple of minutes on this, and then he moves on, because our message is still what it's always been. This whole week we've been trending up in the polls.
Okay, we have the sound. Let's listen to it.
Her #1 person, Huma Abedin, is married to Anthony Weiner, who's a sleazeball and a pervert. And I'm not saying that. I mean, that's recorded history, right? I don't like Huma going home at night and telling Anthony Weiner all of these secrets, okay?
Talk about precious.
I remember that day.
How dare she say the guy doesn't have good judgment? Yeah. She's got horrible judgment. She gives her assistant, who, by the way, isn't entitled to have classified information, all right, who is living with this dirtbag, pervert, pedophile, alleged pedophile, for those of you offended, and he has access to that, and then she says, I have the judgment. Are you kidding?
Well, I remember that day explicitly, and I remember having conversations with other senior staff members and Mr. Trump where he raises this. He's always ahead of the curve.
This is 3 months ago.
He's the guy who put immigration and trade on the map when others wouldn't talk about it. He's the guy, he says things, and then people see they come true. But I wanted to say something. He's not pushing this too far, and the reason is people will make up their own minds. They know who Hillary Clinton is. They see her team on total defense today and yesterday, and what did Clinton and her team do today? They do what they always do. They shot the messenger. They did a hit job from stem to stern on Jim Comey today. It's his fault, and I'll tell you, when they can't, when it's the FBI, not the RNC, not the Trump campaign doing this, when they don't have the vast right-wing conspiracy or the Republicans to blame, they're completely out of sorts, because now they have to attack someone who's supposed to be independent and nonpartisan as a partisan hack. The other thing I want to say is if you listen to Trump's message, it's very clear. He's still talking about renegotiating bad trade deals, creating 25 million jobs over 10 years, and he's very much on Obamacare. He's quoting the specific premium increases that are going to affect you in your state. These are winning messages. You see the ABC News Washington Post poll?
2 points, 12?
12 minus 12, now it's 2. I predict it'll continue to trend our way.
Quick question before we go. It is the end of the campaign, 10 days. Do you expect them to dump something big on you?
Oh, sure. They'll
You're
try
ready. I can see it. You're ready.
They'll try to do that again. Well, we're never surprised, but you're dealing with Donald Trump, and we're accustomed to it. I think what yesterday proved is we're the ones with the thick skin and the broad shoulders. We're very used to having everything dumped on us, and there he is still standing. People have counted this guy out from day one. Don't bet against Donald Trump. He's going to win.
Kellyanne Conway, thanks so much for being with us.
Jeanine.
We know how busy you are.
Thank you.
And where did